a spirit of pride and a spirit of patriotism that I represent the American people.
Well, this masked man, as we said, has absolutely taken the wrestling world by storm. One of the things that everyone is talking about is this Patriots.
Florida, weighing 236 pounds, Tommy Sebo! And of course, he'll be facing Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli, the South Atlantic Heavyweight Champion. And you can bet your bottom dollar that no-good Tennessee stud Robert Fuller will be somewhere lurking about in the corners. He always is. And judging from the music, I would say it's time for the South Atlantic Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli. This may be something of a game, though, for Torelli and Fuller, making Tommy Sebo wait in the ring. Anything like this, you can never put anything past Robert Fuller. He is a master of the psychology of the sport. He knows the half Nelsons. He knows the hammerlocks. He also knows the psychology of the sport, and that is a very, very important part. And now here he comes, your champion, Vince Torelli. Let me take a moment to announce it. A shortcut to the title. The fans like it, but he's going to have to get it by beating Vince Torelli in the ring. And we are underway. Look at this. And finally, you see, you don't see him because he's outside of your camera range, but the Tennessee stud Robert Fuller has come down to ringside. There he is. You catch a corner of him. I know you heard him long before you saw him. And these two, boy, former friends, you talk about bad blood piling up. It's piling up here as Torelli charges like a mad bull once, twice. The third time he's sent reeling back with a two-footed drop kick in the chest. Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli intent on just running over top of his opponent, his former partner, Tommy Sebo. All he got for his effort was a couple of arm drags and 2 feet in the chest. And Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli perhaps showing a little newfound respect for the abilities of Tommy Sebo. Tommy Sebo nip up right out of the head scissor, over with an arm drag, a second arm drag. And I'll tell you what, Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli not looking very Mr. Wrestling-ish right now, is he? As Torelli just reeling into the corner, piled into the corner. And look at the look on Tommy Sebo. Robert, see if you can get a shot at Seabolt's face. Let the fans see what happened when they were last week when they were rubbing his face onto the mat. There it is. Look from the other side. Of course, we can't be very good. There's a nasty-looking bruise or a scrape and a black eye. That was from the beating he took at the hands of his former partner, and you see it right there on his face. The beating he took at the hands of his former partner, Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli. Torelli not only beat him, but he also rubbed that face onto this canvas mat. Anybody who's ever wrestled before, anybody who's ever gotten down on the living room rug and gotten that mat burn on your elbow, you know how bad that burns. Well, that's what's on the face right now of Tommy Sebo. Sebo sent in. Look at here. Sebo playing a little possum. Tommy Sebo playing a little possum. And Mr. Wrestling Vince. A little possum. And Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli sent reeling a fourth time. And Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli certainly not looking like the South Atlantic Heavyweight Champion right now. That is for sure. As I have problems with Robert Fuller, telling him if you interfere in this match at all, I'll send you to the dressing room. Boom, a knee lift. And Torelli just dumps outside. Sebo wanting more action. Sebo cross body block. Torelli caught him, slammed him on the floor. We're in a gymnasium at a high school. He just slammed him on that floor. There's no mats around the ring in South Atlantic Pro Wrestling. You may see it at some of the showboat companies, but you sure don't see any mats here, as that's nothing more than just a wooden gymnasium floor. And Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli now carrying the battle, showing that mean streak in him. We need to jump in and take a break. And gee whiz, I hate to do it right now, but we sure got to jump in and take a break. Let's look at him. He's like a cat. Clothesline from behind. Sebo never saw it coming. And that, ladies and gentlemen, as you well know, is the worst kind of blow, the one you never see. You don't have to get hit as hard because you're not set for the blow. Sebo looks out on his feet. Tommy Sebo just eyes rolled back in his head as he came by me. I looked up off the monitor. He is just in a world of problems as you see him right there on your camera, right there in your living room, ladies and gentlemen, at home. Sebo's eyes, you can see that nasty, nasty place on his face. That's a souvenir of his former partner, Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli, from last week's encounter when Torelli supposedly was hurt. They sent Herman Hessler, the stormtrooper, to replace him. There were to be no replacements today, though, ladies and gentlemen. I promised you, and you had Frank Dusic's word on it. And Frank Dusic's word is his bond. In this case, here he is. Tommy. You hear the crowd behind Seabolt trying to inspire him, trying to get him to find that extra. Tommy Seabolt, of course, our host out here a couple of weeks ago, he said he listened to that crowd. They're a very important part, as is the case with Bobby and Jackie Fulton, War Eagle Chris Chavis, and I think to some degree with the Tennessee Stud, too. They feed on the emotions of the people. As outside the ring, did you see the confrontation inside the ring? Outside the ring is the Tennessee Stud, Robert Fuller, working on the face of Tommy Seabolt, trying to disfigure the young man from Tampa, Florida. Seabolt, a former dare officer, police officer, now professional wrestler. And you see him, he's in the corner in a world of problems. Tennessee Stud, of course, claiming that he's totally innocent, as usual. Of course, we all know he's not. Seabolt trying to fire back. Torelli knee lifted, but you notice Torelli holding the head down at the same time. Most folks, when they knee lift, they turn loose and let the guy fly. Torelli hanging onto the top, onto the shoulders, not letting Tommy Seabolt fly away, so he delivers 4 or 5 of those instead of just the one. A different type of strategy. Whoa, DDT, and that should spell the end, as much as I hate to say it. That could be the end for Tommy Seabolt. Referee Byron Richards in position. 1, 2, but no! Gee whiz, 2.5 that was. Tommy Seabolt just being abused right now by his former ally, and Seabolt definitely needs to get some offense going. He can't continue to take this kind of punishment. Seabolt in a world of trouble right now, definitely needs a breather, and that's not the kind of breather I meant right there either. As taking those cheap shots. Outside the ring, it's Vince Torelli now just carrying the battle to Tommy Seabolt. Torelli, his battle plan is simple. He's just going to attack. He's not going to take a backward step. Torelli's that kind of an athlete. I mean, he is like a soldier in that ring. He knows nothing other than attack. To the top, for the big splash, and Seabolt rolled out of the way. Seabolt, with presence of mind, is rolled out of the way, and the big splash coming down, nobody home. Boom, it's a knee lift, and down goes Vince Torelli. Tommy Seabolt starting to carry through the offense. Tommy Seabolt, a series of right hands to the forehead. Seabolt sending Torelli in for the ride. Torelli into the rope, Seabolt with a drop kick. And it's Tommy Seabolt now coming back on Mr. Wrestling, Vince Torelli. It's Tommy Seabolt coming back and coming back hard. Backdrop, and down goes the South Atlantic Heavyweight Champion, crashing to the mat in unceremonious fashion. Mr. Wrestling, Vince Torelli, sent through the ropes, crashing to the floor, and I'm sure the Tennessee Stud, Robert Fuller, now not at all pleased with the turn of events here, as his man, the South Atlantic Heavyweight Champion, down on the mat, and now is Tommy Seabolt going to give to Vince Torelli the lessons and the same treatment he got from Torelli. The only difference is he won't have Robert Fuller to help him. It's all Tommy Seabolt right now as he is taking the battle to Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli. Tommy Seabolt setting inside, abdominal stretch. Seabolt with the abdominal stretch right now, trying to add punishment and pain to the move. He'd love to be the South Atlantic Heavyweight Champion right now. You know he would. And a win over Mr. Wrestling Vince Torelli is all it would take. Seabolt, abdominal stretch. Fuller yelling trunks, 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 but there's no trunks involved in this. Oh no, referee Byron Richards down. Byron Richards was reached up and pulled into Tommy Seabolt. Two very, very intense, very fierce individuals, Tommy Seabolt and the War Eagle Chris Chavis.
Let me tell you something. Vince Torelli, Robert Fuller.
What has been a short commercial break for you has been pure mayhem here in the ring. The Fantastic staged a sit-down strike. They refused to leave the ring until I guarantee them a return match for the titles against Fuller and Houston. I have guaranteed them that. I will name the time and I will name the place at a later date. I don't have it right now, but that's the only way I can get them out of the ring. It's been about 25 minutes of just pure mayhem here, and I'm sorry if I sound distracted. I'm sorry if I sound confused. The only reason I sound that way is because I am. But we'll get this thing under control, and I promise you, I'm going to bring Fantastics versus Fuller and Houston to somebody somewhere real soon. But right now in the ring, the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff, and I've got to go through my notes and even find out where we are at this stage and figure out who he's against. Yeah, Jimmy White, the University of Michigan standout. White over top, cross body block, 1, 2, but not quite 3, the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff. Jimmy White, a standout from the University of Michigan, a very, very fine amateur wishing to make his mark in professional wrestling. You know, he's not the first great wrestler to come out of the University of Michigan, the Steiner brothers, who everybody knows about. Prior to the Steiner brothers, of course, there was none other than Mr. Wrestling Tim Woods, a legend in the 60s and in the 70s in a lot of places. Former AAU, former NCAA champion. Some classic battles held with the Briscoe brothers and others. Look at this. Oh, no, over top, White trying to do a little bit of a razzle-dazzle, and it didn't work for him as the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff, now going to work. I don't believe what I just saw with the fantastic Fuller in Houston. That is the most despicable display of unsportsmanlike conduct I have ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize to you for having brought that to you today. I really do. Sometimes you lose control. Everybody has those times when no matter how hard you try, you lose control. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those times we lost control. I hate it. I hate not being in control. Those of you that know me and know my reputation as a matchmaker know that I pride myself in running very straightforward, exciting matches. We're not going to have this. I'm going to do something. I'm not sure what it is yet. I haven't had time to think it out, but I promise you, I've been around the sport of professional wrestling 35 years almost. I figured it out the other day. I've been in my 5th decade, and I'm going to look at this move. Oh boy, that was pretty. I'm going to do something. I'm going to get control of this match one way or another. I'm not sure how yet, but I'm going to get control of this match one way or another. Okay. Robert Warren, my television producer, telling me that we've got just a little bit more time here before we have to go to break. But we'll bring you as much of this match as we can. And the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff, former world heavyweight champion, taking on Jimmy White, a hopeful world heavyweight champion, I guess would be the best way to put it. Who took that amateur skill and turned it into a professional career. Koloff, drive to the stomach, another drive, a third drive, and White trying to get up high on the turnbuckle in order to take some of the sting out of those blows. I don't know if that was the wisest move or not. White, a very strong young man, very well conditioned athlete, but he is in there with a true veteran in the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff. White over top, sunset flip, 1, 2, but not quite 3. As now on the ball, head of the man from Russia. The big man from the Ukraine taking a pounding here as it's Emil across the ring. Emil, an interesting move. Look at this, the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff, right back onto his feet and charging Jimmy White, trying to confuse the young man. You know, you get that youngster trying to think too fast in the pro ranks, and he's going to get caught up in the emotion of what's going on. Koloff bleeding from the mouth. Now Koloff taking a little abuse as blood now trickling out of the corner of Ivan Koloff's mouth. Koloff in the middle of the ring. There's a hook and a half Nelson. 1, 2, but not quite 3. You see the amateur there in the reverse half on the hook. Good basic wrestling. As the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff, I think tasting that blood in his mouth now is coming back on. The young, definitely a veteran. Koloff, definitely a veteran. And White stalling, or not stalling, but hesitating for just a second. That could be a mistake because he gives a breather to the Russian Bear. And Koloff, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to tell you what kind of professional Koloff is, but when you look up professional in the dictionary, man, there's this guy's picture. He is just that. He is a true professional. You give him one itty-bitty little break, and I mean, it doesn't have to be a big one. The Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff, now carrying the battle to young Jimmy White. White over the top, going for the dive. Oh, look at here. Nobody was home. Jimmy White dove and landed on his feet. I don't believe that. White went for the dive, realized Koloff wasn't there, went all the way across and over top. Unbelievable. This match is just Koloff just shocking me there, but by being plummeted by young Jimmy White. Very surprising. No, Koloff a move of his own, and 3, and that's it. The Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff. White setting him up and getting up too high. Koloff using his momentum to take him down.
Ring veteran, he's in there against the pretty boy. Summers, of course, a former AWA tag team champion. He has had a long career. I mean, Doug Summers has got to have 15, 20 years in the wrestling business, and I don't care how good a body you've got, 15, 20 years in the wrestling business is going to overcome a couple of muscles in the match.
Chris Walker using the muscles there, goes into the side headlock, just absolutely putting the pressure on the pretty boy.
And I mean, when he wraps those biceps around you like he's got, and he locks those hands like that, that's pressure. You think speaking in front of a crowd is pressure. You think driving on the expressways in downtown New York City is pressure. You haven't felt pressure until Chris Walker wraps those big Good heavens, they've got to be 34-inch boa constrictors around your neck and your head like that. It just squeezes for all he's worth.
How about the Conan Crunch? That's probably what you'd call that. Chris Walker getting the best of Pretty Boy Doug Summers, but a little holding of the tights will help the Pretty Boy. We talked about Summers being a member of the AWA Tag Team Champions a few years ago. Chris Walker has held many a regional title.
He absolutely has. He's held several titles in the Georgia area. He is a former Georgia Tag Team Champion. He held one half of that championship not too very long ago. And Chris Walker has had successful tours of Japan, of Puerto Rico, of Austria. He is an international superstar, one of the many international superstars coming to the Global Wrestling Federation.
Still to come on this hour, the Hitman, the popular man from the Midwest. I understand Chicago is where he makes home. Going against Hustler Rip Rogers. By the way, that car outside, did Rip sell you that?
Well, I came into the tapings here, Craig, and I didn't have any way to get around. He rented it to me.
Oh, how much did he charge you?
Well, I kind of gave him a credit card.
Oh! Well, we'll deduct it. Chris Walker puts more pressure back on.
And that ring post does not give an inch, Craig. A couple of tapings ago, and I accidentally fell and tripped. Didn't hit it very hard at all, and I'm still bruised on the upper part of my arm where I hit that thing. And Doug Summers flew in that thing at good night, 15 miles an hour when he got that good running start against Walker, and Walker moved. And I know what Summers is feeling right now.
What travel agent arranged that trip?
Not the same one that brought me out here, I can guarantee you that.
Walker keeping the pressure on the top, belly to back suplex. Putting the shoulders of Chris Walker to the mat with massive force.
I hate to sound like I'm a member of the all cliche team there, Craig, but when they're both lying on the mat, they're all the same height. And now Walker's down and Summers trying to take the measure.
The winner of the coin flip goes straight into the championship match. The other two men have a playoff match. Then the championship match to determine the television champion. Count of two on Chris Walker by Pretty Boy Doug Summers. And Summers going to go for a little bit of punishment on the lower back.
Conceivable that one man who wins this Global Wrestling Federation Television Championship could have to win 5 matches. If he is part of that playoff match in the final. Look out for. Look at Walker perched and ready in that top corner.
And if Summers doesn't get up, Walker may be counted out, but hello there. Oh. Cross body block, 1, 2, 3. Conan, Chris Walker will advance.
Georgia, Chris Walker.
Coming up next, Joe Pedicino with a dangerous pair, Rip Rogers and Muck and Sing. Plus, we'll have the answer to the fans' question when we return. Beautifully done by...
And to my left, from Atlanta, Georgia, Chris Walker!
Chris Walker to go against the Patriot. This should be a great scientific matchup between two of the fan favorites in the Global Wrestling Federation.
Once again, Craig, the luck of the draw. The Patriot against Chris Walker. We've had matches between friends. We've had matches between enemies all through this tournament. Here is a match between two great friends who spend an awful lot of time in the gym, as obvious as just personified by those bodies in there, the Patriot and Chris Walker.
Now, because of the nature of this match, the winner to take on Nature Boy Buddy Landel. Landel has been allowed to remain at ringside to observe the match and I guess get a little bit more advantage. Not only does he get the rest, he gets to scout his opponent.
Well, these are the 3 finalists, and the rules of the tournament stated, the contract signed by all the tournament entrants stated that the man who drew the bye would remain at ringside. That's in order for us to go straight to that final match. Now, here's Landel. What in the world can Buddy Landel be doing up on the ring apron? He has no interest in who wins this. They're two perfectly matched individuals, the Patriot and Chris Walker.
You know, Dick Vitale talks about all the PT, all the playing time. According to Nature Boy Buddy Landel, the most important thing to him is AT, airtime. Chris Walker, who reverses it with a nice duck under. Have you ever seen two more beautifully built bodies in the same ring in your entire life?
Absolutely not. Not ever have I seen two men more finely honed in the body sculpting than these two. Arguments.
All the power moves, nice fireman carry right there.
There's just no way Buddy Landel cheated on that. He tried to. We caught him a couple of times. You all caught him in the ring in there. But I don't know. There's something rotten in Denmark when Buddy Landel, of the three out there, two, the Patriot and Chris Walker, obviously, upstanding citizens, great Americans, perfectly sculpted athletes, and the third is just the exact opposite of all that, Buddy Landel, and he gets the break.
Well, if you were Landel, who would you want to face here? It's almost an even Steven situation.
Probably referee Sean O'Brien if Buddy Landel is making a, well, watch it.
Roll up, count of one, count of two, and Walker almost gets the chance to go for the championship.
Didn't want to miss.
By Landel! O'Brien wasn't able to see it, and the cover by the Patriot. But the Patriot is in.
Welcome into USWA Supercard action. Michael St. John with you at ringside opening match. Chris Candido on your screen right now. 225 pounds out of Beverly Hills, California, will take on that masked man, Mascara de Fuego from Mexico at 215. Referee Paul Neighbors, two of the fine light heavyweights in the USWA, getting ready to lock it up here on Supercard. Want to thank my friend Doyle King for subbing in for me last week while I was on assignment for the USWA. And we are ready for opening action. It's good to be back, see all the fine fans at the Sportatorium in Dallas, Texas, where this action comes from each and every week here on ESPN. Fuego going to work on Candido. This is my first opportunity to see Chris Candido, and I'm seeing him with you as we speak. Look at this. Mascara de Fuego with a nice flying press off the ropes. 1-2 was all he got. High drop kick. Candido down to the ground, and he will go out the Sportatorium. Great action coming up today. Dr. Tom Pritchard will be in action a bit later on against gorgeous Gary Young. Some kind of altercation arising from last week's Supercard program between gorgeous Gary Young and Dr. Tom Pritchard, and they're going to settle their differences where it should be done, and that, of course, being in the ring. Candido locks it up, side headlock on Mascara de Fuego, zips him into the ropes, shoulder block coming off. Candido, fine-looking young man, blonde-headed, showing good prowess, up and over. Candido catches him. Look at this. Half slam, half bulldog, and Mascara de Fuego rolls at work to his advantage. Also on our Supercard program today, superstar Bill Dundee will be in action against El Grande to team up to be one of the finest teams to ever grace the arena here in the Sportatorium and throughout the USWA. They will put their World Tag Team titles on the line against a new team just coming into the USWA, that being the Master Blaster and Tex Salander. All that action and much, much more here today on Supercard. We've got an interesting little tape to show you from earlier involving the Karate Kid and Little Tokyo. Lock it up, collar and elbow in the ring right now. As Chris Candido goes right after Mascara de Fuego. Reverses that chin lock, puts the knee up against the neck, and puts the pressure on. Referee Paul Neighbors watching the action. This match, one fall, 15-minute time limit. Mascara de Fuego, nice trip up. Moves right in on Chris Candido. Candido brought to his feet, and they're exchanging some chops in there. Snap mare by Candido. Drops the leg over the neck of Mascara de Fuego. Picks him up, going for the suplex, snap suplex, puts him down. Has him covered. One, hooks the leg for two, but that's all he got. Mascara de Fuego breaking out of it. And there you see him breaking at the eyes of Candido. Candido rammed into the turnbuckle. Mascara de Fuego with things going his way. Conversing with the audience here at the Sportatorium. Look at that. Belly-to-back suplex. Both men hitting the canvas hard. Candido going down, locks him up, puts that leg up. 1-2, count of two was all he got. Chris Candido trying to cover Mascara de Fuego, and Fuego comes slugging back right at Candido, picks him up, goes for a power slam, puts him on the mat. 1, 2, and that was all he got. Mascara de Fuego trying the pinning combination. Now Candido, this match going back and forth in volley. Candido coming over. Oh, dropped the knee, but nobody home. Rams the knee into the mat. And Candido rolling in agony as Mascaro helps him to his feet. Back body drop off the side of the shoulders. Candido goes down. Mascara de Fuego with things going his way. Whips him to the ropes again. Look at this. Snap neck breaker by Candido. Candido covers him. 1, 2, 3. He got him. 3 count, Chris Candido. Making a victorious debut here in the USWA. Taking the victory over Mascara de Fuego here in our opening match here today on USWA Supercard on ESPN. We got a big match coming up.
After seeing the Desperados for the first couple of weeks, it's apparent that they are...
See the Lightning Kid in action when we return. Match as we go into the first round.
Absolutely here. Got to consider Bubba Fangman for our all-name team at the end of the year.
Well, the Lightning Kid bolts on the side of the head and having nothing to do with Frankenstein.
Cross his heart. He doesn't have one. Oh, please. Did you buy a used car from that guy?
No, but how's yours from Rip Rogers running?
I don't even want to get into that again. I think this kid and Rogers have gone into business together or something.
The Lightning Kid, nice fireman's carry, goes into the side headlock. Fangman will have none of that as he kicks out. The Lightning Kid now claiming that there might be some foreign substance, some slippery substance on Bubba Fangman.
Well, I thought only snakes were greasy like that, and the Lightning Kid is more snaky than Bubba Fangman ever wants to be.
Now look at these nice chain wrestling moves by the Lightning Kid. Apparently, when he wants to wrestle, he does it very well.
Well, you can tell the Lightning Kid knows what he's doing in that ring, Craig. Any amateur wrestler out there watching this match will tell you those float overs, those go-behinds, those chain wrestling maneuvers, like you said, those aren't easy to accomplish on a mat, in a ring, wherever. And so the Lightning Kid obviously is a talented man. He just takes those shortcuts, and he has that attitude.
His talent does not stop in the wrestling ring. A black belt in Taekwondo, Judo, and Sambo, which is a form of submission wrestling, which you'll see over in Japan quite a bit. And the Lightning Kid showing off his physique. Nice reversal by the Lightning Kid. Don't let the kid fool you. He may look lanky, but his attitude makes up for it. Sends him in, clothesline. And once again, there's one of those clotheslines where when the kid delivers it, he actually goes up in the air rather than down.
It's a different variation. People say, oh, you've seen one clothesline, you've seen them all. But we haven't seen anything like the Lightning Kids because he takes off into the man.
There's some of those karate kicks to the side of the head of Bubba Fangman.
Very reminiscent there of Akira Maeda in Japan.
The drop kick, nowhere to go for Bubba Fangman. Most drop kicks, you have a place to fall back on. Nowhere to fall back there. The Lightning Kid sends Fangman. Hey, the kid missed. Fangman comes back with a flying clothesline. Count of 2 by senior referee Sean O'Brien.
And Fangman caught the clothesline almost across the chest of the Lightning Kid, and that looked to be a little bit more effective because the kid doesn't have that big a chest. Fangman brought him down all the way with the force of the chest, and that's almost something like the Bully Blaster, maybe. It just shocks the system. A good move by Bubba, but now the Lightning Kid back in charge.
The kid taking advantage with a version of the abdominal stretch. This time Fangman know about. Karate Kid I saw on HBO. And there it is, the belly-to-back suplex. Count of 2. Some places that's called the dragonfly suplex.
Absolutely.
Into the ropes goes Bubba Fangman. The kid misses with a clothesline, comes back with a spinning leg kick. Rolls him over in the half. Nelson, count of 1, count of 2. But Fangman gets the shoulder. No, count of 3. I thought Fangman might have gotten the shoulder up, but O'Brien's hand does come down to the mat, and the Lightning Kid goes out. Back with a news center when we return. The mask, well, maybe we'll get to see who the handsome... No, he's got another mask on.
Oh.
The mystery continues.
Who is this guy?
Well, the Beauty and the Beast, I guess you would say. No tag teams involved here. We're talking about the handsome stranger getting oohs and ahs from the ladies going against Butch Blackheart.
Good matchup coming up here between the handsome stranger. We don't know an awful lot about him. There's a good look at Butch Blackheart. Now, he's put together, too. Don't cut him short.
Well, there you see the handsome stranger. We don't know, admittedly, a lot about this man. Blackheart wants to know as little as possible, it looks like, as he ducks outside.
Great physique on the handsome stranger. Obviously no stranger to the gymnasium.
I don't think great's the proper word for that physique.
Impressive.
Well, there you take a look into the eyes of the handsome stranger.
That'll be one of those shots that's freeze-framed about 8 billion times as people watch this show, Craig, when the handsome stranger...
That's not what you're talking about there.
No, not that one. When the handsome stranger stares into that camera. He really took the crowd by storm when he came out. We don't know a lot about this guy.
Well, one thing we do know...
Great look at the handsome stranger. But Blackheart, we talk about the stranger's physique. Blackheart, not a stranger to the gym either. Looks like he's put in a few hours pumping the old iron. This could be a good match.
Well, finally a tie-up. Blackheart trying to tie up the stranger in the ropes, and a slap. Well, Blackheart obviously not going to be one of the fans of the ladies. The ladies like that face.
They don't want it messed up at all, Craig. You do not touch the face of the handsome stranger.
I'd venture to say the handsome stranger may be one of the early leaders in the 8x10 photo contest.
Oh, well, they're starting that up again.
Oh, my.
I'll have to go dust off my 8x10 glossies.
Break it. Break. Break it.
The stranger backed up into the ropes by Butch again. And the stranger says, I'll have none of this. Take that and that into the ropes. The stranger comes off with a clothesline. Sets him up, drop kick. Sends Butch Blackheart down.
Beautiful anticipation by the stranger. He almost jumped too soon, caught himself before he got airborne, waited for Blackheart to turn around, and dropped him. Beautiful drop kick. Good psychology in there by the handsome stranger.
Psychology against the psychotic, I guess you could say, is right now it's the side headlock by the handsome stranger.
It does sound like we should have a name after that, doesn't it? The handsome stranger, Bubba Fangman. Well, that wouldn't work.
No,
that's not Bubba in there. But regardless, we need a name. We need the handsome stranger something. We'll have to dig into this man's background, find out exactly. Looking very much forward to seeing what we can find out in the upcoming weeks about the handsome stranger.
About the only thing that's sure about the handsome stranger, his favorite ride at the amusement park, is the Tunnel of Love. Right now, putting the squeeze on Butch Blackheart.
Not the kind of squeeze he's used to putting on other people, but then again, he probably doesn't spend a lot of time with people the ilk of Butch Blackheart, if you will.
You could say that Blackheart's buddies don't like to see a guy like the handsome stranger walk through their neighborhood. Speaking of walking through, up the ropes he goes, rolling him over. Count of 2 by Rick Manning, as Blackheart better watch that shoulder.
I'll tell you how you can tell somebody who is dedicated to training, Craig, and this is something you...
And Rob, yes, he did have long blonde hair and his guitar, but he was a good guy.
Rob became a co-founder of a successful rock band, Rat. But as the guitarist's career started to take off, the couple's relationship came to a crashing halt. Tawny wanted to move to Los Angeles and pursue a showbiz career.
She wanted her fame. She didn't want to, you know, hang on to someone else's coat. So she just went off on her own and did what she had to do.
In 1980, 19-year-old Tawny arrived in Hollywood. Unannounced, she walked into the offices of the Elite Modeling Agency. Tawny's beauty and confidence impressed Elite's execs, and they offered her a contract on the spot. But at 5'6", Katane's height made her a tough sell to clients. Tawny took matters into her own hands when she auditioned for a Sergio Valenti jeans commercial.
They said, sorry, you're too short. So not taking no for an answer, she went next door to a large department store, whatever it was, and bought a